Hello， 线上的听众朋友们，下午好，我是 Veron 尹川，
我是志峰。那么今天呢，我们在线上有大马民主联合阵线MUDA的主席赛沙迪。
是的，好，那么现在呢，先请大家把这个线上直播分享出去，让更多人可以留言分享，一起跟这个赛沙迪聊聊天。
Okay, Sadiq, welcome.
Hi, Sadiq.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so where are you right now? You are in the car, right?
I'm in the car, so it gets a little bit bumpy. I'm currently in Aitam, just went to campaign for my good friend Chih. So now I'm going down to Tanjung Piai.
On the way to Tanjung Piai.
Yes, to meet up with Lim Wei, my other friend.
Okay, so how's the campaign period for the last one week plus?
It's been very exciting. To be honest, I see the ground shaking. And I suspect that there will be a political earthquake, an earthquake which many Malaysians would not expect. Because really when you go to the ground, especially you see the frustration, anger of people due to the rise in the cost of living, non-stop flooding. These are all issues which play to the minds of the voters. So I believe the party or the candidate which focuses on solutions instead of focusing on the enemy's problems will end up winning.
Okay, so I think we are about to start in our radio interview, so we will shift to Mandarin first. OK， 好，各位朋友，赶快把这个视频给分享出去，我们要进入电台的部分了。
对的，也欢迎听众朋友们留言提问，因为赛沙迪已经准备好回答你的问题了。
OK， 好，我们就要回到节目的现场了。欢迎不啦 ？OK，
欢迎收看和收听大选特别访谈，我是 Veron 尹川，
我是志峰。
那么大选期间呢 ，CITYPlus 会每天傍晚6点到7点为你呈现大选特别节目，不同主题、不同来宾，让你掌握这个大选选情呢。那么今天呢，我们的来宾大家相当熟悉啊，他也是这个大马最年轻的部长，也应该是大马政党当中最年轻的党主席。他就是大马民主联合阵线MUDA的主席，以及前青年及体育部长。身为青年为主的政党，MUDA候选人会如何过关斩老将，赢得选票呢？
好，那么许多年轻人对政治都感到冷感，政党和政治人物应该如何吸引更多的年轻人关心政治呢？特别是大选期间，鼓励他们出来投票。赛沙迪面对法庭官司，这会否削弱他的胜算，影响他的信心？而MUDA在这届大选又会面对哪一些挑战呢？今天邀请到赛沙迪上来做客。Welcome, Syed Saddiq. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, I believe you have campaigned all over the country from Perlis to Johor and then to Sabah. So as MUDA president, what are the advantage do you think MUDA has over other political party in this particular GE, especially the party with a lot of veterans?
Yeah. So, I mean, from the onset, we know that we do not have the money, the contracts, control over state government, media control like the other big parties. But what we do not have, we make up with our level of energy, idealism, politics, which focuses on solutions in really wanting to build a Malaysia which is truly multiracial, multi-religious, moderate, and a Malaysia which is truly developed so that we can be the leaders in Southeast Asia once again. I think MUDA as a party is a lot more energetic and as a party really much focused on solutions to resolve the problems of our fellow Malaysians.
I see. Okay, I have another question for Saddiq. What are the difficulty and challenges that MUDA face in this general election?
Oh, I mean, we are a new party. Admittedly, we're not even a one-year-old party. So in contrast to the resources of the major parties, I mean, almost all the other parties either have control over the federal government or the state government. We have neither of those. We are a party made up of almost 90,000 young and old Malaysians who are largely professionals, technocrats, who really have a heart in wanting to make Malaysia a developed country. So resources would definitely be a major problem for MUDA. However, while it is a problem, like during floods last year, we have really utilized crowdfunding. We've raised millions from the average Malaysian. We have volunteers, an army of volunteers on the ground who don't expect a single cent of salary, but really wanting to help the party move forward. So we have our weaknesses, we have our strengths. However, MUDA is here to stay because we want to serve Malaysians, and serving Malaysians will take time. Changing Malaysia will take time, but we are here to stay.
Okay, further to your question, you just now you mentioned that funding is a very huge problem, especially during this general election, and MUDA is contesting 6 parliamentarian seat. So, what are the channels that you gather this financial resources beside crowdfunding? Any other corporate that come to you said, okay, Sade, I support you and support MUDA, and then give certain amount of donation. Have you come across this type of situation?
The unique part of the support has been unbelievable. I mean, so one is the crowdfunding option. Secondarily, even before Parliament was dissolved, on average, every week we will host 2 fundraising dinners, and it's always fully booked. 50 tables, 100 tables, 1,000 people, 1,500 people, and that has really helped. And that's where some corporates come forward, but usually they may not want to appear, but they'll end up buying some of the tables to help our candidates out. So far things have been going very well, but we also like it when we're not indebted to only 1 or 2 corporates. We don't want to subscribe to the old way of fundraising where you have 1 or 2 hyper-rich political elites who will end up funding the whole party and therefore making us totally indebted to them. We rather have a situation where we have tens of thousands of funders so that in the end they know we're not beholden to only 1 or 2 people, but we are truly beholden to the people, the rakyat, and that's the culture which we want to create in MUDA.
So Sadiq, with only a few days left for polling day, what will MUDA do to increase the voter turnout, especially for the young voter, the first timer?
Yeah, I think we've been going on the ground a lot to ensure that voters know that they can vote. Because my worry is this: while we've already passed 3 crucial constitutional amendments, Undi 18, Calon 18, and Undi Automatic, I notice there's a trend where many young voters don't even know that they can vote. That when they're 18, they can vote, and that they are automatically registered. As a consequence, they do not have to go to the post office to register. So the final 4 days will be to focus on this messaging. And the second part to it is really to get Malaysian voters out to show that this election is such a crucial election, that the soul and conscience of our country is on the line, that this election will determine the composition of our next government. Is it a multiracial and multi-religious government, or is it mono-ethnic and mono-religious? Is it a government which is clean of corruption, or is it a government which is made up of people who corrupt? Is this a government which wants to focus on solutions, or a government which wants to play the politics of toxicity and divisiveness? So really, I think when the soul of the country is on the line, I think it's very important, especially for the younger generation, to turn up to vote, because if we don't vote, someone else will. And that someone else may not necessarily represent the Malaysia which we want to see. So this is really an election for young people to turn up and to decide our fate together.
Okay, Sadiq, then how do you think just young candidates are in the minority in the GE, right? Then how do you think can be done to make younger people more interested in the participating in politics?
I mean, one thing which we truly appreciate is that this time around, you notice all parties competing to field a lot more young candidates. Yes. And to me, that's a positive trend, and I welcome it across the political aisle. I mean, even for my opponents, I think that's great, because that creates a healthy competition to the top, where all parties will choose to rejuvenate their leadership instead of relying on the same old leadership. But it's not enough to just field young candidates, but field them in the most impossible seats, because the last thing which you want is to fill a lot of candidates, but just as tokens, because these seats are impossible, and in the end, in Parliament, will be the same old political warlords in power. So that's why for MUDA, I mean, you see myself, Wejat, Cikgu Ayu, Mutalib, and many others, Shahrizal Dansi, people of different race, religion, all being put together to end young in competitive seats. And we see many of our friends in Pakatan Harapan doing the same as well. So my message to fellow Malaysians is this: don't just look at electing one leader. Look at the team who backs that leader. And this is where I think the combination of Pakatan Harapan and MUDA, which I feel that the most young candidates below 40 is a lot. I mean, the percentage, I think, is more than 30%. And in highly competitive seats, because this is the kind of Malaysia which we want to build. A Malaysia which is truly multiracial, multi-religious, diverse, young and old, with a lot of ideas, ready to turbocharge our country forward.
So Sadiq, after more than a week of election campaign, how are the response that you gather from the ground? So what are the wishes of the people, no matter young or old? So what is the response that you get, especially in the Malay area? Because I think in the urban area, mostly the voter have make up their mind. But in the semi-urban, especially the Malay heartland, the feudal area. So what is your
Yeah.
assessment on that?
I believe that there is a huge undercurrent of Malay support shifting out of Barisan Nasional. And this is not just me saying it. Look at the polling done by Merdeka Center and many other established polling houses. During the Johor state election, UMNO's Malay support was above 50%. Now it has dropped to the lowest in the history of Malaysia, which is about 31 to 33%, which is the lowest ever. And I see that undercurrent being contributed because of the sudden general election, which shows desperation among the political elites in UMNO, especially when they are facing trial. The call of UMNO to give a royal pardon to the former Prime Minister who was convicted of stealing, God knows how much, to the tune of the millions to the billions. So really, UMNO's focus in this election has been about power, contract, instead of focusing on real world problems. And that's where I think we are focusing on the solutions in dealing with the rise in cost of living, inflation, underemployment, issues of public transportation. These are all very, very important issues. And the fact that even up to today, the president of UMNO and the prime minister are still fighting. And you see Kari Jamaluddin attacking the president of UMNO and the president of UMNO attacking him back. Now really, the party which claims that they are a symbol of stability is really the cause of instability in Malaysia. I believe many Malay voters see it that way. So that's why I suspect that this election, there will be a huge surprise because that undercurrent is very strong. I believe MUA is one of the best examples because MUA is a 2/3 Malay majority, suburban to rural seat. But even in my area, I can see a huge seismic shift in support from UMNO to elsewhere. So really now my focus, and I keep on telling MUDA's focus should be on solutions. Instead of attacking our opponents, let's focus on solutions in moving forward.
Okay, I have a further question on that because there are some saying that Pakatan Harapan, including MUDA, is not the second choice for the Malay electorate. The second choice for Malay electorate is Perikatan Nasional, which combine of PAS and also Bersatu. So what is your comment on that?
That's why I say I think you'll be surprised with the outcome of the election because I see that trend shifting because many Malay voters know that voting for Perikatan Nasional is equivalent to voting for Barisan Nasional where Zaid Hamidi will be the Prime Minister. Just look what happened in the news today where Taqiyuddin, the Secretary General of PAS, who's part of Perikatan Nasional, said that post-election they will immediately merge and combine with Barisan Nasional. And then after coming up with that statement, the chairman of Perikatan Nasional, Tan Sri Muhyiddin, then says, oh no, we will not work with Barisan Nasional. You can see how confusing it is and how much in a disarray they are. Right? Because one of them wants to work VN, the other doesn't, and it gets very messy. So instead of wasting votes by electing Perikatan or Barisan who will end up working with one another, it's better to work with Pakatan Harapan, who's a truly multiracial, multi-religious, moderate, policy-centered political coalition. And either way, I always believe that a change in government is good because it keeps leaders on its toes instead of ensuring that the political elites become complacent, lazy, because they think forever they will be in power.
Yep, I see. Yeah, Sadid. Another questions for you. Just now you mentioned about the cost of living, right? In your opinion, what is the biggest cost of living problem in Malaysia now?
It's multifactorial. So one is the fact that our currency now is so weak and we import about 50 billion ringgit per annum of food abroad has really hurt the average Malaysian. So because our import receipt is so big and our currency gets lower, that means the cost of purchasing the food will increase to a great extent. And that's where you see inflation takes place. The next is on affordable housing. And this is where you see, if you look at our parents, they can already afford to own a house. They can get a mortgage, get a bank loan by early 30s or mid 30s, and they can already afford a house. Ask the Malaysian youth today. Even when they are about to enter their 40s, they're still renting, not just a house, but a car. my generation is one of the most asset-light generation. They don't have assets which can appreciate in value. They have a lot of debt, and they are severely underpaid. So all these issues combined together makes my generation a sandwich generation. Not only must they think of starting a new life, taking care of their children, building a new family, but at the same time, we must also take care of our parents, because our parents' generation today, they do not even have 10,000 ringgit in their bank account for their retirement fund. And this is not coming from me. This is the official numbers from EPF, where more than 50% of retirees don't even have 10,000 ringgit in their account. So my generation is sandwiched. We have to take care of the pressure of the top and pressure at the bottom. And I think this puts us in a very difficult situation. And that's why I think the new government must focus in attracting high quality investments, creating good quality jobs, dealing with issues of public transportation and climate change. It must be a solution-centered government, not a government which keeps on talking about contracts, power, shifting allegiance from PN to BN, BN to PN to PAS, keep on playing about race and religion and divisive politics. I think it's time for us to herald a new era of Malaysian politics.
Yep, I agree. Sandwich generation are quite tough, right? Okay, Sadi, let's stop the segment for a while. We will continue our conversation later. 好，那相信大家通过第一段的访谈，也了解到 MUDA 的选战策略。暂时电台的部分，我们先告一段落。下一段还有赛沙迪在线上，我们来聊聊他个人的想法，MUDA 与其他政党的情况。不要走开。
Okay, so we rest for a while. Okay.
Hopefully the line is okay, because now suddenly it's raining again.
Oh, raining.
So yeah.
The line are quite good lah. Okay.
The screen is a little bit bumpy.
I'm sorry, I'm in the car and I'm actually holding the phone, so it's like.
Oh, you hold the phone. You're not using any pad.
Nope, unfortunately not. So this is the power of my hands.
Okay, so we are ready to come back on the radio station, radio part.
Okay.
Okay, 好。欢迎大家回来。OK， 我们在线上呢依然有 MUDA 的主席赛沙迪。那么我们进入第二个部分。第二个部分呢，我们将会谈谈赛沙迪个人、MUDA 以及 MUDA 跟其他政党之间的这一个关系。OK， 赛沙迪 ，welcome you back on the show.
Welcome, Sadi.
Thank you very much.
Sadi, this is not your first time contesting and joining general election. So what do you think about the major differences in this GE 2022 and 2018? What are the major differences?
I mean, there are major differences because in last election, no one thought that change would be possible, because we've never had a change in government for 60 years. And when change happened, it was a complete surprise. This time around, Malaysians know that power really lies in their hands, that they've changed the government before, they've gotten 3 different prime ministers, and now they can do it again. But this time around, I see, especially with the opposition coalition, it's no longer just an alignment of convenience, but this is an alignment of principles and values. You're looking at a truly multiracial, multi-religious coalition and united together, because we've gone through the hardest time. We've lost power. We've got into power and then we lost power. We've been threatened. We've been offered with ministerial positions, GLC positions, the luxuries of life, but yet we still stood through thick and thin together. So I think this time around, really, it will not be as easy as before. The wave is not as strong. However, you're looking at a highly fractured UMNO and weakened UMNO as well. So the field is very much open. But I think what is great about Malaysian democracy post GE14 in 2018 is that voters know that power is in their hands, and that if they've done it before in 2018, they can do it again. And at the same time, I keep on reminding my friends in opposition, do not take the wisdom of voters lightly, because just because they may dislike UMNO doesn't mean that they will vote us. So I think the new voters of Malaysia will herald a new future for us, because they're not blindly allegiant to any political party, and that's a good thing, because it means people like me will always have to work harder and harder to serve the people, because if we grow complacent and lazy, we will be voted out very quickly.
Okay, Sadiq, there is a saying and also there's certain belief on that the urban voter, Takira, China, India, ke Melayu, the urban voter have make up their mind that they will vote for Pakatan. But at the rural area, especially the Malay, they still very familiar with UMNO and also Barisan Nasional. And they think that for Pakatan and also for PKR, they hardly protect Malay rights and also privilege. So how do you come across and counter back this type of narrative?
I'm a Malay, I'm a Muslim, but I will always be a Malaysian first. And my message to the other Malays out there is this. What's the purpose of supporting UMNO Barisan Nasional, who keeps on dividing us fellow Malaysians by the race and religion which we are born into, but at the same time have run corruption, abusive policies, which in the end cause my community to live in poverty? I mean, how can they say in a straight face we want to protect the Malays, but at the same time, after 60 years, a quarter of Bumiputra Sabahans still live below poverty line? I'm not even talking about V40, I'm talking about living below poverty line. How can my community still be the one who's largely entrenched in poverty? All the problems of the world. I mean, to me, this is something which is very serious. If they so-called claim that they've protected the Malays and made that better, then make us independent. To me, the best threshold success for the Malays is where we can stand on our own feet, we can succeed on our own, not based on the race and religion which we are born into. And my job as a Malaysian leader is to ensure that my community can become independent, stand on their own feet, compete by merit, to ensure that when we are put through the pressure cooker together, Malay, Chinese, Indian, we put through the pressure cooker together, the best of the best will keep on marching forward, and that's where Malaysia will unleash its true potential to become a developed country. So instead of supporting leaders who play the race and religious card, but behind closed doors, get the best luxuries of life, multi-billion-dollar contracts for them and their family members in the name of Malay and Islam, it's time for us to focus on serving fellow Malaysians, regardless of race and religion, in moving our country forward. But my final message is this. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding on Malaysian democracy. People think that, oh, it's only urban voters, rural voters, suburban voters. I think a lot of people do not know that Malaysian democracy is very unique because the majority of voters actually live in urban areas. You know, Kelang Valley actually makes up a huge voter bank in Malaysia. That's why during voting day, you'll notice massive traffic out of KL. Why is that? Because many people who live in KL and Kelang Valley actually end up voting in Johor, in Perlis, in Kedah, Kelantan, Terengganu. And that's where you see the worst traffic ever during the 2 or 3 days before voting outside of KL. It just shows you that Malaysian politics is very dynamic. I may end up voting in Baling, Kedah, but I'm actually working in Bangi. I may end up voting in Muar, but I'm working in Singapore. And to me, that just balances politics to a great extent, because there are a lot of voters who are very much aware of what's going on, what are the main issues, who will end up going back to their respective hometowns to vote.
I
Okay,
see.
Sadiq.
Okay, Sadi. MUDA always hope to reforming the government through young power, right? But the result seems to be not so encouraging. Not so encouraging because many voters do not have high hopes toward the young candidate. What do you think?
Well, it is our job to prove them wrong. I mean, we take the criticism with an open heart. I know many people tell us that we are too new, too young, lack of experience. But that was the same thing which was said to me and many other young people when they go through their daily lives, when they are either in private sector or in public sector. You're too young, you're too inexperienced. But I believe through our track record, our good work, right, and our passion and idealism to turbocharge our country forward, people will start to realize, hey, it's actually a good thing to give a chance to young people, especially when it's the same old faces in power forever. So on this, it is my job and MUDA leaders' job to change that perception. But MUDA is not here just for this election. We are here to really invest in Malaysia's future. And to parents out there, my message is this, that yes, we are new, but rest assured, we will take care of your children's future and your grandchildren's future, because I believe it is our dream to leave a country which is better for our children and grandchildren. And myself and the many leaders in MUDA want to do exactly that. We are investing in your future.
Okay, Sadiq, you are defending the MUA parliamentarian seat in this coming GE. So, how do you rate your chances in this GE compare with last GE? Last GE is GE 14. Yes, this one is GE 15. So, what is your chances?
If you look at the polling results, it looks very good. The one released by Merdeka Center puts me substantially ahead. However, we cannot just rely on polling results. That's why I'm on the ground all the time. And I treat my opponents with dignity and respect, both from BN and PN. I told them that this will be a clean campaign, and my commitment, whoever is to win, I will want to unite Mauarians. I do not care which party you are from. If you deserve to get aid, I will give it. If you come from an underprivileged family and you support UMNO, I do not care. I will still support you. Because to me, Malaysia can only progress when we unite together, not just on the factor of race and religion, but also partisanship, because you do not want to divide people based on politics, like what has happened before. So moving forward, I think MUA is a highly competitive seat, but my pitch to fellow Mauarians is to ask them to look at my track record for the past 4 years. You know, Malaysia has gone through multiple changes in government, and despite being offered a minister post, a JLC post, I rejected it because I wanted to remain faithful to the good people of MUA. Even when I was threatened, left, front and center, not just me, but my family member, I still remain loyal to my principles and values. And now, even while I'm in opposition for the past 3 years, during times of COVID, in total in MUA, we were able to collect more than 50 million of welfare aid developmental projects for the good people of MUA. Because I want to use my track record for the past 4 years. Because to me, campaigning season does not start when parliament is dissolved. Campaigning season starts immediately after we are elected. And I started campaigning since May the 10th, 2020. May the 10th, 2018.
Do you think it's two idealizations, like what you tell us just now?
Two idealists, are you?
Yeah, idealization.
We need more idealists in Malaysia, that I can tell you, because it starts with a dream, but it will end up becoming a reality. That dream may be a very long one, but it must start somewhere. Because if you don't start with a dream, you'll never get there. And I know even if I fail to do it, it will be my children's generation who will do it. But I'm very firm in wanting to move my country forward, in making our beloved Malaysia the engine of growth in Southeast Asia, in really making us a united and prosperous country. Because I think our diversity is a strength, not a liability.
I see. Okay, the next question is, will your court case affect your chance in the MUA and backfire against other MUDA candidates?
I mean, this is where you have to trust the maturity of voters, because voters read up, they know what's going on. And I believe a lot of them have been following my case, and they know that it is an internal case which involves my ex-party, Bersatu. It doesn't involve my role as a minister. It doesn't involve my role as an MP. Heck, it was even before I was elected in 2018, which is on a party fundraiser. So on this issue, I'm not worried. And that's where, when I was threatened for 1.5 years to jump, if I wanted this case to go away, I didn't. Because I know that I'm in the right. And unlike some of the Barisan Nasional leaders, I want to give full faith and confidence in our judiciary to clear up my name. If you have nothing to fear, then believe in the court system, because the court will clear up my name. So on this issue, I think Malaysian voters know, especially when they see that when I was threatened, I didn't jump. When I was offered a minister's position and GLC, I didn't take it. And even when I threatened, I keep on pushing forward. So on this matter, I'll allow the maturity of the Malaysian public to decide my fate.
Okay, MUDA contested in 6 parliament seats, which is Kepala Batas, Tanjung Karang, Masjid Tanah, MUA, Tanjung PI, and also Kotak Marudu in Sabah. All are tough fights, so not easy. But
Super tough.
super tough. Any winnable seat or any chances for MUDA to break through beside MUA?
We treat all seats seriously. And I do acknowledge that if you look at the seats, it's almost like MUDA against ministers. Kepala Batas, Minister, Tanjung Karang, No Omar, Minister before, Masjid Tanah, Deputy Minister, Kota Marudu, Minister. I mean, Tanjung PI, Deputy Minister, is really like MUDA against Menteri, you know. However, we take up this challenge. As we shared before, we are here to stay, we want to serve, we don't want to just contest in urban seats. where it is easy and where opposition can already win. So besides more, we are putting up a really, really strong fight in seats like Tanjung Piai, Tanjung Karang, Kota Marudu, Kepala Batas. I mean, we're putting up really strong fights in these seats so that we can help a new government be formed, and this new government must deliver on its promises, because MUDA is here to ensure that Malaysia succeeds. And we want to be a part of this new government, and especially in pushing for a new agenda and new policies to solve the problems of the average Malaysian.
Okay, so what is the difference between MUDA and other political party young wings?
So I believe the potential of young people should not just be limited in youth wings or women's wings. If anything, if we have a youth who's capable and credible, we should not just limit him or her to a youth wing. And above and beyond that, I want MUDA to focus a lot more on solutions. And that's why if you follow my speeches in Parliament and also when I'm campaigning, I try my best not to touch too much on my opponents, but it's to talk about solutions. Solutions on our education problems, solutions on underemployment, public transportation, renewable energy. These are all things which I speak with passion, because I think to move Malaysia forward, there must be a great contest of ideas. Because I don't want Malaysian voters to end up picking a party or candidate which is the lesser of evils. I want for Malaysian politics to rise beyond hate, so that the Malaysian public can pick the best of the best, not the worst of the worst or the lesser of evils. But for this, we need to focus on ideals, principles, values, and solutions.
But there is a saying that MUDA and AMK, which is U wing of PKR, is not too in line. There's a competitor relationship among MUDA and also PKR youth wing. AMK, yeah, AMK. I hardly remember their name, AMK. So what is your response on that? As beside that, also DAP youth wing. So is there any chances for all the youth wing work together, or there is a healthy competition?
I mean, rest assured that we are working together. I'm already campaigning for some of the young candidates from PKR, from DAP. So I don't just help MUDA candidates, I help them as well. And we campaign together as a team, because we want to build a united and prosperous Malaysia, which comes with stability as well. So while there were disagreements before, these are minor disagreements which we ironed out very quickly. And that's why you see, immediately after nomination day, we are more united than ever. We are campaigning not just for parties, but for each other. There are no sabotage. We are really on the ground, online, offline, all together. And try compare that with our opponents, right? I mean, when they were dropped, then PN joined BN joined PN. It's very confusing, right? And until today, they're still fighting. But for us, you don't see those fights anymore. So while they were minor disagreements before, but I think we are united because we share the same values, principles, and ideals in building a Malaysia which is truly diverse, moderate, and successful.
Okay. Given that time, we have only 2 minutes left. Okay, this is the last question. There is a saying that, or a general feeling that hardly see any potential MUDA young leader beside Sadek. So what are the efforts that taken by MUDA to groom or to develop youth leader? Because MUDA equal to Sadek, and then Sadek equal to MUDA. So this is not a very healthy path for a political party. So any grooming project or any other youth leader can be project to the public?
And this is where I like to plead to the Malaysian public to give an opportunity to the other leaders of MUDA. Because I believe after working with them, I know that if they are given the opportunity, they will outshine me in no time. Just look, during the Johor state election, I decided to take a back seat. Amira Aisha contested, and now she's already the Adon in Puteri Wangsa, and she's doing remarkably well. She's on the ground all the time, focusing on solutions and policies. And now she can do everything on her own. Imagine giving another opportunity to Lim Weijat in Tanjung Piai, Cikgu Ayu in Tanjung Karang, right? And there are many others. Give them a chance. Once you give them a chance, then I believe MUDA will outgrow Syed Saddiq. And if anything, I'm sure that they will outcompete me in no time. And when they are better than me in MUDA, I don't care whether you are a Malay, Chinese, or Indian. If you do better, you will become the president of the party. Nothing stopping you. Even if you are a lady and you come from a racial minority, you can become the president of MUDA. And I will wholeheartedly back you, because MUDA is about celebrating diversity. But my plea to the Malaysian public is this: please give an opportunity to the other leaders of MUDA, because I know that if they are given a chance, they will outshine me, they will do much better than me. And I think that's where Malaysian politics will grow, and MUDA will be much, much larger than any leader. I think that's what makes MUDA a home, which I feel very proud to be part of.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Sadik. Thank you for your time sharing with us your thought and also your general sentiment, general feeling on this general election.
Thank you, Sadi.
Okay.
好，非常
Thank you
谢谢
very much, everyone.
OK， 谢谢各位朋友你们的这个留言以及你们的参与。那么今天的节目就到此为止啦，谢谢。